This segment of Moms Every Day is brought to you by the sponsors of momseveryday.com. Welcome to momseveryday.com. I'm your host, Jen Lennon. Today I'm joined by Rich Coleman. He is the owner of Black Label Restoration and Cleaning here in Colorado Springs. Rich, welcome.
Good morning, Jen.
And Rich, we know actually if folks recognize you, you've been on KKTV before. Last year during the Waldo Canyon fire, you helped us to understand about soot and smoke damage. So for folks experiencing this again, sadly, in Black Forest, what do we need to know as homeowners?
What you need to know is when you're dealing with fires, it's not just the burned homes or the partially burned homes. In those areas, there was a lot of smoke damage, and it got inside the homes through the windows and doors, and some of it's not visible.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, you can obviously see if there's a black layer of film of soot in your house, but it can go beyond that. I guess that would be my concern, is what is there that I don't see? And explain that to me.
It's the sticky soot. It's the soot that's in the form of smoke, hot as it comes into your home. And it actually sticks to the walls. It doesn't just drop to the surfaces.
So it kind of just absorbs into the wall there?
It sits on the wall, but it attaches itself to the wall.
So these special sponges you have, we're going to show these here. Now you can do an inspection on a home, right?
Yes, and it's a complimentary inspection. Now, you shouldn't be getting charged for these inspections.
All right.
So when you do call around, identify a company that's willing to come out and just take a look.
And so I see that this is a plain sponge, and then I see the black residue on this sponge. So what does that mean?
The black residue, I often get asked, how do you know that's not dust? Well, what we're dealing with is the black color is not a color of dirt that we have in Colorado. We have reds and tans and grays, but we don't have blacks. And so if we're getting this color back off of your walls, it does mean that you have the potential to have actual carbon issues going on inside the home.
And obviously we know that there's short-term health issues with this smoke because we all have the itchy eyes right now and the upper respiratory things, but there can be long-term issues if you don't get this cleaned out of your home, right?
Short-term, you're going to be affected if you have allergies, upper respiratory issues, those kinds of things. The long-term is we are dealing with carbon and carcinogens, which over long-term periods of time can be unhealthy, especially for children with forming immune systems.
Sure. Now, you said to me before, Rich, you're not going to come knocking on people's doors. There are people out there that might be doing that right now, but you guys are a solid company here in the Springs for 10 years. So how do people seek you out, and what will they expect when they find you?
We have a website, Black Label Restoration. .com. You can go there for a bunch of multiple links to different the CDC explanations on carbon and the effects. We're also on the Better Business Bureau A+ rating, and we have been here a long time. And if you do this, please get second opinions and try to use local companies because they'll be here for you in the future.
Yeah, that's your biggest concern, is that you want people to reach out and get multiple opinions and to feel comfortable with the folks they're working with.
Absolutely.
And this is not necessarily a short process, so you need to feel like you trust people, right?
I think getting multiple opinions and actually going with the contractor that you feel comfortable with, because you are going to be, excuse the term, married at the hip for 3 to 4 weeks while your home is being cleaned, and it can be a stressful process. So just make sure that you do your due diligence, do your investigation, and pick the company that you're comfortable with.
And then as far as insurance goes, you guys have people within your office that can help with those insurance claims?
Yeah, we have a claims processing portion of the office where we handle everything, dealing with your adjuster, approvals, and that kind of stuff. So really, it takes a lot of the stress.
And you mentioned, Rich, that sometimes homes, like you said, may not obviously be affected, or your neighbor may have things and you may not. So it's really important just to get that complimentary inspection.
Just call for the inspection. We'll come out. We are finding that about 50% of the homes are not affected.
Oh, okay.
But again, you can have a house right next to a burned home that's not affected, and 5 houses down the street, you can have one that was heavily affected. They might have left the windows open, construction, door
so many
penetration.
variables.
There's so many variables involved. Just have it inspected.
Great. Thanks for those tips today, Rich. We appreciate it.
You bet.
And for more information about Black Label Restoration and Cleaning, you can go to our website, momseveryday.com. Thank you for joining me today and every day. I'm your host, Jen Lennon, for momseveryday.com. Moms Every Day, weekdays on KKTV, is brought to you by the sponsors of momseveryday.com.